Okay, you guys, what is up? King Lightning is going to do the first of the 3 One Piece videos this week. There's going to be another one tomorrow, and there's going to be the final one on Sunday. Now, this is going to be the Fishman Island arc overview. Now, the thing is, and I wrote a lot of notes, I have a lot of notes here, people, a lot, front and back, so on and so forth. And the thing is that what I'm going to do is that basically, I wanna go right in this thing because I don't want to make it so long where it's like an hour and a half. So what I'm going to do is that it's separated into 4 sections. It's going to be the beginning of the arc, the beginning of the middle, the end of the middle, and then the actual end. And then after that, it's going to be the cons and pros. And then after that, it's going to be the overall grade for the Fishman Island arc. So at the beginning of this arc, we have the Kuma revelation, where Frankie reveals to everyone about Bartholomew Kuma, about he was a member of the Revolutionary Army, how he might have deliberately put the people on, how he might have deliberately put the crew on each of the islands, and how he protected their ship for 2 years straight. And then we have the as the ship is going down to Fishman Island, we have the introduction of Karibo. He comes in there, winds up getting screwed over, and then as that happens, they fight the Kraken. The Kraken, basically, it was a showmanship of the crew's abilities. It was Luffy doing the hockey and the armaments, Sanji doing the blitzing in the water and the grill shot, and while Zoro doing his thing with the Santoryu crossing of 6 Paths. After that, we get introduced to Vanderdecker on the way down here, but things get derailed when there's an undersea volcano eruption, and then they wind up being chucked down into, I think it was maybe 7,000 meters underneath the ocean surface. And then after that, after they find Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, they finally reach their destination, Fishman Island. And that's the beginning of the arc. Now, for the beginning middle, this is like the slowest portion of the actual arc itself. The beginning middle. The beginning middle is the introduction of a lot of the characters. So basically, the crew winds up splitting into different factions when they reach the arc because they wind up getting thrown in there. They have no other choice to do a coup de burst in order to get inside the actual island itself because of Haman and the other fishermen that were there. And then there was a few scenes where it was Luffy, Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper. A few scenes with the Sanji nosebleeds, how Sanji had to go and actually recuperate with Chopper, while Usopp, Luffy wind up meeting up with Brook and Nami alongside with Kami and Papa Goon. And this introduces a lot of the characters like Madame Shirley, King Neptune, and at the same time, when King Neptune comes down and brings the Straw Hats up into the Raiju Palace, we get introduced to Hoity Jones. Hoity Jones winds up taking out Crab Hand Gyro and his crew with the handcuffs on in order to display the strength and showmanship of the Fishmen. Real quick right there. And then we get introduced to the princes, Fukaboshi, Manboshi, and the other one, I forgot his name, doesn't really matter. And then what happens is that there is a situation in the Raiju Palace where the mermaids are being captured by Karibo, but they blame it on the Straw Hats, and the Straw Hats wind up being confounded within the palace. At the same time, Luffy takes Shirahoshi, and he escapes with Shirahoshi. Yeah, and also we get introduced to Shirahoshi, the princess of mermaids of Fishman. And then Luffy takes her to, or he wants to take her to the undersea forest, and then we get split into more factions where it's Nami and Kami, and they're going outside. So basically, it's going to be the Sea Forest faction, which winds up being Luffy, Frankie, Nami, Jinbei, who winds up being there later on. Jinbei, who they meet later on, and Sanji. Yeah, I believe so. And then at the same time, and Chopper. And then the palace group is Zoro, Brook, and Usopp. And also King Neptune is trapped. Well, actually, yeah, King Neptune is... Actually, no. They take King Neptune. Never mind. But, that being said, what happens before that is that it winds up being a Luffy versus Vanderdecker match, which Luffy wins that fight. And then it winds up being a Horty Jones against Zoro fight, which Horty Jones managed to overcome Zoro, since Zoro couldn't breathe on the water for that long. And then we see the whole entire Jinbei situation, where Sanji and Nami confront Jinbei about why he let Arlong loose within the East Blue. After that, it's the Fishman flashback. And that's the end of the beginning of the middle. And the flashback itself was basically, it entails the story of Fisher Tiger and Queen Otohime, how they became who they are, why they did what they did, and how they met their ends. And that's the way the fit, and also how these two individuals tie into the other characters, like Jinbei, like the princess, like King Neptune, like Princess Shirahoshi. Also, it explains what, and also Arlong, especially Arlong. This also entails how Shirahoshi, how she was touched by Vanderdecker, and yeah, it sounds kind of perverted right there because she was 6 years old. I know. But the thing about it is that she was marked by Vanderdecker, and then she was in prison, or she had to stay within the tall tower for 10 years of her life, which explains why she's so cowardice. And then that's the end of the beginning middle. Now for the end of the middle, what happens here is that it's a post-flashback. It's a situation between Luffy and Jinbei where they get into a scuffle, and then Robin comes in there with a, I'm going to call it one of her flower petal clones. Sanji tries to interfere, but then it winds up being a crossfire between Sanji, Luffy, and Jinbei, which all goes awry. Horty Jones, in the meantime, took over Fishman Island. Horty Jones went down there. He defeated the princess and captured the princess, all three of the princes, while Horty Jones's main officers took control of each of the sections, and then they forced the people of Fishman Island to step on the face of Queen Otohime. And then after that comes the Horty Jones transformation, where he starts to morph into this white hulkish figure. He becomes much more powerful, much more devastating. And what happens here is that, and give me a second. Okay, and then after that, what happens is that Jinbei gets captured. But it was all a ploy in order to try at Luffy in order to help and amend the situation. What happens here is that Luffy's hiding within Megalo. He jumps out, and then Luffy and the Straw Pirates confront Horty Jones and Horty Jones' henchmen. And at the end of the beginning of the middle, what happens here is that during the fight, it's mainly Luffy doing his thing. Luffy comes in there and he knocks out 50,000 fishmen in an instant, which was very epic, insanely epic. And then it's a confrontation between Horty Jones and Luffy. Luffy is basically displaying his hockey throughout the entire time. He beats him in speed. He literally just bashes Horty across the plaza, displaying his hockey, dodging his water shark arrows, and so on and so forth. It's basically a really one-sided fight where Luffy just dominates. In the meantime, Vanderdecken was busy, and he marked Noah, the giant ship Noah, with his devil fruit. And then what happens here is that now Noah is going to target Shirahoshi wherever she goes. And then at the end of the middle, what happens here is that Noah is flying in the sky. Well, not flying in the sky, but Noah is starting to rise, and it's starting to target Shirahoshi. And then Shirahoshi is running away from the massive ship, while Luffy and Horty give chase. Horty with the intention of killing Vanderdecker, and Luffy with the intention of saving Shirahoshi. At the end of that, So that's the end of the middle. When it comes to the actual ending of the Fishman Island arc, what happens here is that the crewmates separate, and then they divide into their appropriate fights. Brook takes on Zeo. Sanji and Jinbei take on Watasume, and then so on and so forth. The only two people who don't get fights are Robin and Nami. Now after that, what happens is that basically Horty Jones manages to take out Von der Decker, and then when Shirahoshi was straight vertical, when she was swimming away from the ship, what happens is that the ship stops chasing her and starts to fall down on Fishman Island. At the same time, Luffy is trying to fend off against Horty Jones in order to prepare for the destruction of Noah's Ark. Now, of course, Luffy does this by using the epic, also awesome move, Red Hawk. But before that, we get the revelation from Prince Fukaboshi that we get Horty Jones's true face, his true nature, who he truly is. Basically, he's a fake villain. He was only the only reason why he's doing this. He never actually suffered by the hands of humans. It's just that he has seen things that happened between humans and fishmen, and he had this belief. Him and his friends had this belief that they were superior, though they themselves have never actually suffered or have actually had conflict with human beings. And then what happens is that we get into the beatdown of the Fishman crew. Luffy's crew, they basically take out all their crew members in they take out all the major officers within one chapter. We have the Hell's Memories, we have, I forgot what it's called, the Impact Wolf, we have the Radical Beam, we have Chopper and the, I think it was called the Primera or the Prima, I'm not too sure. Brook did his thing nice. Amongst the finishing moves, I will say that the ones that I found that I thought were the best were Sanji's and Brook's. Sanji's to me was really cool because Sanji was in midair, immersed in flames, and burned Watasume's entire mountainous body, while at the same time Brook just doing his quick speed, at the same time his precision cuts using the solid soul. Like, it was really cool. That was really cool. So in my opinion, the top two techniques were Sanji's and Brook's. At the same time, Luffy again, he takes out Horty Jones, and because before happened was that Fukaboshi and Luffy told these other fishermen to go and make a giant bubble around Noah because we will probably need it. So there's a giant air bubble around Noah. Luffy utilizes it, and then even though Horty Jones weakened Luffy by biting across his shoulder, Luffy was able to dub down the effect of that bite with Haki, and then he continued the assault on Noah with a elephant Gatling. However, his wound was opening up, and then he was struggling. And then at the end of that, what happens is that Luffy winds up being assisted by the Sea Kings. In the process, he destroys almost half of Noah. And let me explain, all right? Let me explain. Let me just deviate, all right? Let me just completely deviate. Noah is a big fucking ship. Yeah, I said it. Noah is a damn big ship. Fishman Island, during the flashback, I believe it was 16 years ago. Not too sure on that year time, but it might have been 15 or 16 years ago. Maybe in 14, maybe in 10. I'm not too sure, but over 10 years. During that time frame, Fishman Island had a population of 50 million people in one island. That's a big island. 50 million people. That's not even an island. That's like a small continent. Like, straight up, a small continent. And Luffy is able to destroy half of a ship that is half the size of a small continent that can fit 50 million people. That's crazy stuff. So if you want to do your math correctly, we have 50 divided by 2, which is 25. And then since Luffy himself was able to destroy half of Noah, well, then we got 25 divided by 2. And then we go from there, people. I mean, obviously it's 12.5. So, I mean, technically, and not even at his strongest. Not even at his strongest. Because Luffy was injured, he was bleeding out. Luffy was able to. I mean, the Sea Kings said it themselves that Luffy, if they had continued, Luffy would have saved Fishman Island, but Noah would have been completely destroyed. He would have destroyed a structure that is capable of holding 25 million people. That's crazy shit. I don't care how you want to put it. That's crazy shit. It is. But that's the end of that. And then I know I had to go on like a little tangent, because when I was reading that chapter, I was like, yo, Luffy got powerful, and he's not even top tier. I'm saying it right now. Luffy is not top tier. Why? Because there's so many other characters out there in the One Piece world that we don't know about. I need to see all the admirals fight. All the admirals are still above him. All the Yoko and Shanks, I know, is above Luffy. I know for a fact. I'm pretty sure Kaido is. Big Man is probably too. And there's other people, like, for example, the people the guys who live in the Wano Kuni. Come on, top tier New World pirates. Luffy, in my opinion, is not top tier. He's top mid tier. I'll give him that. But I mean, granted, I still need to see them in an all-out fight. The crew have not been in an all-out serious fight, so we need to see them in that kind of situation. But what winds up happening is that the Sea Kings help. They help Luffy they help Luffy with Noah, and they take the ship near the undersea forest. At the same time, Luffy passes out, and he's on the ground while everyone is celebrating and cheering that, like, it's finally over. They finally defeated the Fishman pirates, and they finally saved Fishman Island from destruction. Jinbei offers up his blood to Luffy in order to signify the union, or to signify the beginning of the union between Fishman and human. And yeah, definitely, all right, because Jinbei, Fishman, proud. Luffy is a guy who is non-biased. He's a straight he's a straight, straight, clear-headed person. He's all cool with that. So yeah, definitely a union right there. After that, what happens is that King Neptune allows Horty's men in order to stay within the living quarters of Fishman Island. However, they must serve military term and so on and so forth. Horty Jones and his officers and Vanderdecker, they get placed in prison, while Wadasume is thrown to the deepest corners of the ocean, taken by the Kraken. Also, what we need to realize here is that after that, what happens is that, very important, they have a big banquet. Even though Luffy wants to leave, there's a big banquet with like a party and so on and so forth. And then we get the revelations of Joy Boy, who was a person who existed within the Void Century that wrote the Rio Poneglyph. Or, well, I don't know if he wrote it, but he told the fishermen who lived there at the time to make sure that Noah is safe and not to destroy it and wait for the promised day. Also, we get the revelation of Poseidon. We get to realize that Shirahoshi has the ability to like destroy the world because she can control the Sea Kings. And these Sea Kings are massive. Some of them, the biggest ones, are the size of fucking continents. They are huge. So we get the revelation of Poseidon, one of the ancient weapons of mass destruction, which means that massive weapons of the ancient weapons of mass destruction are not limited to just like weapons, like actual actual mechanical weapons. They can also be people as well, or creatures. So as of right now, we do know that Pluton was a massive ship that had great destructive capability, and we know that Poseidon is a mermaid that has the ability to talk to Sea Kings, which leaves one more weapon of mass destruction, which is Uranus. And we have no idea what that is just yet, but we will find out in the future probably. Yeah, definitely, all right? In the late future. After that revelation, we come to the Jinbei speaks to Luffy about what's going on in the new world thus far, what he missed, and then we have the revelation of Aokiji versus Akainu. And what happens here is that Akainu beat Aokiji for supremacy of the military, and Akainu is now fleet admiral, while Aokiji left the Marines and is now wandering off somewhere. We have no idea. In return, the Marines have now been granted by the world government this sense of absolute justice, and their power has grown a lot. It has grown a lot throughout the course of their regime in order to make up for their loss of an admiral. That's right there. The next revelation is the revelation of Blackbeard. Blackbeard has been busy. He's been collecting devil fruits. He is now on an ability hunt, and he is now Yoko. He is now on the same status as Shanks, Kaido, and Big Man. Blackbeard has been busy, clearly busy. It is hinted at this point that Blackbeard may have he may have gained more devil fruit abilities. It is hinted, strongly hinted, that he can now do a wide variety of different techniques, which makes him on that OP level. Because no one in One Piece has ever gotten more than one devil fruit, let alone two, let alone a lot. So this, of course, has something to do with his body structure, and so on and so forth. The next thing is that during the whole entire during the revelation of Blackbeard, Karibo attempts to take Shirahoshi. However, he fails because Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro sense something amiss using their premonition. Because I am assuming that Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, at least Sanji, Zoro, they do have some kind of premonition of haki. All right, even though they might have trained for it, because Luffy's haki is way better than those two. But I will get into that in another video. That being said, Karibo gets taken out of the picture momentarily, while Nami, because Karibo apparently had all this treasure, they found all the captured mermaids in the treasure vault, and Karibo took all the treasure. And the thing is, Nami realizes that, okay, well, no. King Neptune tells Nami that. Nami's like, go get my treasure. And then Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy follow Karibo so they can get their money. And what happens is that there's a situation in the Candy Town where we get introduced to Peckham's and Baron Tamago. And these two characters are soldiers of Big Man, who is one of the 4 Yoko. Now what happens here is that because there's a situation, because they gave all the candy to Luffy in the celebration and the banquet, they forgot or they didn't realize that, oh yeah, we have to owe Big Man 10 tons of candy right now. So what happens is that Baron Tamago is about to let Big Man calls up because I forgot who told her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either Peckham's or Baron Tamago. But they informed Big Man that there was no candy, and then one of Big Man's soldiers tells her this. She calls back, and then Tamago and Peckham's are really scared. But what happens is that Luffy winds up being there. He grabs the Denden Mushi, and then he issues a challenge to Big Man because Big Man refused to take the treasure that Luffy would offer her. And because of that, Luffy feels the need to make Fishman Island his territory in order to protect the island from Big Man. After that, what happens here is that what happens? Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, so what happens here is Luffy makes the island his territory. Tamago and Peckham's are about to leave while Karibo comes from behind, tries to take them out, but Peckham's one-shots him right to the gut. End of story. However, Peckham's and Tamago do not realize that one of the chests that they have contains a lot of bombs. Apparently, someone opened this hidden chest, and I believe that this chest contains the energy steroids. So what happened is that I forgot if he was the left arm or the right arm of the king. I forgot, but it was the seahorse. The seahorse, the main seahorse guy. He apparently put a lot of bombs within the chest. So if someone were to open that chest up, there will be a giant explosion. And I'm pretty sure that this might happen after the Punk Hazard arc, where someone near or maybe even Big Man herself may open the chest, and then there'll be a huge explosion, and then Big Man's gonna be really pissed off, and then it's gonna be an even more prominent declaration of war. And then she after that is gonna be on a manhunt, on a search and destroy mission after Luffy, which actually could entail the first serious fight that Monkey D. Luffy will have. Maybe. After that, the Peckhams thing, after that, what happens is that Luffy and the guys, they're about to leave. However, there's a cutscene with the New World, and apparently all the pirates that were rescued in Fishman Island are being captured above by Smoker and Tashigi. And then after that, it's basically the Straw Pirates, they leave, they say their farewell, and then the people of Fishman Island have gained somewhat of a tolerance for humans. It's not like it was in Skypiea, where we're all best buddies now. In Fishman Island, they have they're a lot more tolerant of humans because Luffy is a human and he was willing to go so far to save that island. So Fishmen are now so basically that's it right there. That's my arc overview. Well, no, those are the beginning, middle, and end points. Now for the pros and cons. All right, the cons are going to entail a few things. All right, so the first con is the Sanji nosebleeds. All right, I love Sanji. He's my favorite character in the series of One Piece. But when I saw the nosebleeds, they were kind of, in the manga, they were kind of irritating. They were kind of lame and annoying. Oda really pushed the joke too far. It was kind of stale. In the anime, they're way better. But in the manga, they didn't really fit. They were kind of weird. And that's con number one. Con number two is that at the beginning of the middle, with the introduction of all the characters like Shirahoshi and the princes and so on and so forth, it was very slow. Very, very slow. Very slow. I mean, it was really slow. They were going from point A to point B with no real haste. Oda was taking his time in parts where he should have actually, hurried it up. Like, he should have introduced these characters a lot more efficiently and quicker. That's con number two. Con number three is Horty Jones's true face. That to me was a no, because the problem here is that there are so many characters in One Piece that have actually suffered through forms of racism, like for example, like Arlong, Kami herself during the whole entire Shibuya Archipelago situation, Hachi, also in Skypiea, the Shandias, big time the Shandias. So there are characters like Wiper, they have suffered from racism, and Horty Jones, who actually, he was basically, he had like a god complex, or like a superiority complex, where he just felt that because we can breathe on the water and you can't, we're better than you, and that gives us the right to kill your entire race. So Horty Jones, that to me was a no-no. No offense to all you Horty Jones fans, if you guys actually exist. I know, I'm just saying. Con number four is that Madam Shirley's prediction never actually came through fruition. I mean, even though it will happen at some point, it didn't happen at the given arc. And so that prediction was a lot of hype for no reason. It was just there, like Madam Shirley, prediction. That's it, But it was a lot of hype for no reason, though probably in the future it will happen. But at that point in time, it would have lost its effect because it was prevalent in this arc. So if it happens in a later arc, it may not be as prevalent. Probably not. And the last negative was that Karibo did not play a big role in this arc whatsoever. Karibo was just there. He was going around, he was stealing chicks, he was stealing mermaids, then he got rid of all the mermaids, grabbed the treasure, then he got rid of the treasure for Shirahoshi, then wound up getting his ass kicked. That was it. Karibo, in my opinion, should have been a lot more prevalent throughout the entire arc. Karibo actually would have made things a lot more interesting if he was actually effective, but, I guess Oda said fuck him. Now for the actual pros, all right? The pros, the Kuma Revelation. The Kuma Revelation is a big pro because this gives so much weight and meaning to not only the character Bartholomew Kuma, but also to the Revolutionary Army that we don't know a lot about. Yes, also, right there, people, the Revolutionary Army, the Revolutionary Army and Dragon, these are also top tier characters. There's no way Luffy's on Dragon's level. There's no way. No way. Dragon is like, whoa. He's on a whole new league. I bet you Dragon could like slaughter. Actually, well, no, yeah, no. Let's not push it out there. But that being said, the Kuma Revelation, that's a big pro. Pro number 2, the flashback. The flashback was a big pro. Why? Because this enlightened us on not only the history of Fishman Island itself, but also explains a lot about the characters of Boa Hancock and a lot of people that were saved through Fisher Tiger. It explains a lot about Arlong and Jinbei. A lot. Especially those two and Hachi. It explains how Fishermen have actually struggled throughout the course of their lives, what they had to go through. It explains a lot about Shirahoshi. It actually gives Shirahoshi a better character development because Shirahoshi, even though in my opinion she's really annoying, I can see where she's coming from. She was 6 years old. She was minding her own business, not really doing anything, and all of a sudden, here is Vanderdecker, touches her, and then she gets chucked in some fucking tower for 10 years. Just 10 years without going to the outside world. That's horrible. What I also will say is that this also enlightened the Tenryubito. These guys are vicious because I forgot how long it was, but Queen Otohime actually had to spend a lot of time trying to get the signature of one Tenryubito, of one noble. So that was again it highlights the effort of what they had to go through. And then of course people complain about Luffy slept through the flashback. When One Piece has like 9 main characters. Like what the frick? Because one sleeps through it, and like 3 of them are like really attentive. Oh shit, let's freak out. In fact, if Luffy was awake for that entire flashback, that would actually shock me, because that is completely out of character. That is not within the realms of Luffy's character in order to stay focused on one thing. Especially if he's non-biased and if it has no effect on him personally. If it doesn't affect Luffy personally, why the frick should he care? Why the frick should he care? It doesn't make sense. So, so flashback is pro number 2. Pro number 3, obviously, the Straw Hats display their new ability. I'm going to tell you right now, Soul King Brook for the win. I was so impressed with Brook. I figured that Brook was like in like the lower section of the crew. No, Brook is like, Brook was impressive. Brook was very impressive, as was everyone. Chopper, Usopp, Sanji, my man Sanji, obviously. Luffy was very impressive. So was Nami. Nami was actually doing some pretty cool stuff too, with the whole entire like invisibility thing, with the Gale Sword and the Lion Roar. The Lion Rod thing. Very good stuff from each of the characters. Jinbei, Jinbei, Knight of the Sea, doing his thing. Jinbei was very impressive. So, that's pro number 3. Pro number 4 is the premonition of Joy Boy and Poseidon. That to me, people don't understand that the reason why I feel that Nico Robin is one of the most prominent characters within the series, if not right next to Luffy, because she is very involved with the Blank Century, and the Blank Century may have strong ties to the One Piece treasure itself. And that means that Nico Robin is going to be very, very prominent. So, I'm telling you guys right now, Nico Robin is she's a very important character. And Joy Boy, anything with the Blank Century and Weapons of Mass Destruction, automatic pro. Automatic pro. It doesn't even matter. Automatic pro. So that's pro number 4 right there. Pro number 5. The change in the government. The rise of Akainu. The rise of Akainu and the downfall of Aokiji. How the system has changed, where the government is now giving power to the military, to the Marines. How Akainu is going around preaching this sense of absolute justice. That's con number 5 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Con number 6 is going to be Blackbeard. Not con. Pro. Pro number 6 is going to be Blackbeard. Blackbeard is going out there. He is systematically destroying in the New World. He is dominating. He is taking control of. We all know what his goal is, to get One Piece. But Blackbeard is doing it in a way like no one has ever seen before. He's going fruit hunting. He's going devil fruit hunting. Who does that? No one but Blackbeard. Blackbeard's at the end of the series, or when we do see Blackbeard, he is gonna be so overpowered, so hacks. If he has more than 2 fruits, yes, oh my god, it's gonna be insane. Especially if he has gotten a better knowledge of the Guru Guru no Mi and the Yomi Yomi no Mi. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's pro number 6. And the final pro number 7, obviously, is the challenge to Big Man and Luffy controlling Fishman Island. The thing is, when you control an island, you need to maintain the peace on that island. So, for example, and this could happen, this could possibly happen, in the future of One Piece, if there is a situation on Fishman Island, and then Fishman Island relay a message to a Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy may have to send one of his crew members in order to go there and assess the situation. Maybe he might send, because Jinbei, at some point, he will join the crew, but not right now. So he might send Jinbei, Nico Robin, and Usopp to go help out Fishman Island. And then it'll be really cool to see how the crew, for a moment of time, diverges, and how 3 or 4 members of that crew go to help out an island that they control. That would be some really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. That being said, for my overall arc overview, the arc by itself is a C-, but for the arc, when it comes for the overall story, is a B. It's an obvious B, because the arc by itself, again, the beginning middle was very slow, very, very slow. Some of the stuff that happened within the island itself was meaningless, like the prediction. But when it comes to the arc and how it fits to the overall story, it's very good, because it introduced a lot of the blank century. It opened the doors of a lot of the blank century. Jinbei, Jinbei might join the crew later on. The challenge to Big Man, and so on and so forth. So, and Noah is so important. Noah, I know, is going to be so important within the future of the series. So that's an obvious B, and the overall grade for this arc is going to be a C+. Yeah, that's going to be my final grade for this arc. It's going to be a C+. So that's my take on this. Give me your guys' thoughts on the arc. What you guys liked, what you guys didn't like, what you guys wish would happen, and so on and so forth. So that being said, King of Lightning, rate, comment, subscribe, my Fishman Island arc overview, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Signing off.